This is Molé Mama. Take a journey with me to my kitchen where I recreate some of my sweet Mama Rosa's best Mexican family recipes. I'll share the stories behind my grandma's magical molcajete, guacamole, crunchy tacos, mole, papas and chorizo chimichangas, Kahlua cake, crack cake, and oh so much more. You'll also get to meet guest chefs as they share the stories behind their yummy recipes. I believe that food is the sixth language of love. And if you're like me, it's your love that makes your food magical. Tune into Molé Mama on Thursdays at 6 p.m. for all the fun and love. You might want to eat first, because this show is going to make you oh so hungry. Que Dios te bendiga, as my mom would say. May God bless you. Hola, and welcome to Molé Mama, here on 1-2 Radio, where we are changing the way we cook for the world. I'd love to interact with you tonight, so please join us in the Facebook chat room by going over to 12radio.com and clicking on the chat button on the top left menu bar. You'll be redirected to our 1-2 Radio Facebook group, and our fabulous producer will let you join let you join our private group. And please feel free to post a question in the chat, and I will answer you on air. And once again, welcome to Molé Mama, where every recipe has a story. And we're always celebrating home chefs like my beautiful mother, Rose, whose picture's in our chat room. And we talk about heritage and family recipes and traditional tools like my grandma's molcajete. And I remind you every week that the secret ingredient to every great recipe is our love. I'd like to welcome our returning listeners. I know that Elizabeth Lindsay is recovering from her surgery and is listening tonight, so sending big healing thoughts to her, and welcome, Elizabeth. My prima Eva is listening, so welcome, Eva. And I know there's others of you in the chat room, so I'll check in a moment and see who else is here. And I also want to welcome any new listeners tonight, and I want to remind you that if you've made any of my recipes, like my molcajete or my guacamole or my crunchy tacos or my caldito de pollo or my pozole or my chimichangas or my crack cakes, so please post photos on Instagram or Facebook. And if you have any questions, reach out. And I also know that we have a very special guest here today, and her children are listening. So I want to give a big shout out to Andrea, to Selma, and to Lorenzo, who are also listening to their mama tonight. Gisel Martin is here, and we are going to be talking about pumpkin. Gisel has a huge love of pumpkin, which I'm so excited about. And she has like 5 recipes, you guys, that she's going to share with us. And before we get started, she made all this food last Friday, and I got to go and sample it all. So I'll be able to give you insight into what it really tasted like from somebody who didn't make it, because it was amazing. I can't stop thinking about it. So welcome, Gisel.
Thank you. I'm really, really happy to be here. And I feel like a little bit of a nerd saying that I love pumpkin so much. But I actually love fall harvest, like all of the fall squash, butternut squash, acorn squash, spaghetti squash. I love them all. I love when fall comes around and we get to go to the pumpkin patch with my kids, the pumpkin farm, and just learn about all these different types of pumpkins. And they all taste and look so differently and different sizes. I love it.
Well, I also forgot to mention that Gisel I'm her aunt. So, and she's here and agreed to be here.
Somehow.
Which is awesome. Yeah, it's a very long sordid story, and maybe we'll get into it later. But when I found out that you wanted to be on my show and talk about pumpkin, I was so excited because I have never cooked with pumpkin except for making pies and muffins, and always used canned pumpkin. And you're using fresh pumpkins, which is fantastic. So, I would love to understand how you got started on this path of just cooking with fresh pumpkin.
Well, okay, I'm Mexican American, and growing up, the only 2 pumpkin dishes I've ever known is my Mexican side was dulce de calabaza, which is candied pumpkin. And then my American side, pumpkin pie. And I always loved pumpkin pie. And pumpkin pie only came around in October and November. But as I grew older and I started learning about like foods and how food is very healing and we should eat everything fresh, I just little by little stopped buying canned things. And then I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago when I went to my first pumpkin farm with my oldest daughter, Andrea. We went to Farmer John's pumpkin farm in Half Moon Bay. And they were teaching the preschoolers, the 3-year-olds. I learned so much. I loved it. I learned so much, and I saw these weird looking, oddly shaped pumpkins, but I learned that, they come from the earth, and then they cultivate them, and they're not just for decorations, they're for eating, and they're not just for carvings. So it's been a few years now where we don't carve pumpkins in my house. My kids, we use markers or colored anything, and we decorate them with paints on the outside. So then I could cook them, because I don't like to throw away food like that. You know, it's not, I don't like to be wasteful. So
that's fantastic. And I did not buy a pumpkin this year at all because of the same reason. I didn't want to carve it, and then it rots, and it bothers me to see it get wasted. I'm in the same boat, but I don't know how to use them. So when I came over last week and you were explaining to me how you actually prepare the pumpkin to use, I would love for you to talk about that, because I seriously, I did not know how to do that.
So I always get a few pumpkins. Well, each kid chooses a pumpkin, so that's 3 right there. Right. And then this year, my mom each brought them a pumpkin, so I had 6.
Okay.
And then we went to a Halloween party, and then somehow, I think I ended up with 8 pumpkins somehow.
Oh my goodness.
And my first round of pumpkins, what I did was I just slice them up. So I slice them up kind of like on the bottom. The stem is on top, and I kind of slice it halfway through the bottom, and I just like rip it open. Okay. And the stem just falls off because it's just dead. It's like a little dead, excuse me, it's like a little dead trunk. So it just falls off, and then we seed them, and my kids love helping me take out the seeds of the pumpkin. And last week, my daughter Salma, she helped me, and we took out all the seeds, and she was washing them. We washed all of the pumpkin insides off of the gooey pumpkin orange insides off of the pumpkin seeds, and we just rinsed them, and we put them on a tray, and we actually roasted the pumpkin seeds. I just added some sea salt, and that's it. So she helped me to do that last week. Andrea also, she loves to help me cook. They're very, 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 very good helpers in the kitchen.
So why don't you tell our listeners how old they are?
So Andrea is 8 years old. Salma is 5, and it's her birthday next month, so she's soon to be 6. And Lorenzo, he's 3. So it was his pumpkin farm field trip that we went to this year in October with the preschool. So he also chose his own pumpkin, and the pumpkin that he chose was the one that I actually used to make one of the recipes. I made a cream of pumpkin soup. So I used that whole pumpkin. I would say it was a maybe medium-sized pumpkin. And one of the reasons why I love going to that farm is because they take us and the kids out to the field to like where they're actually growing. So that we get to see that's actually a farm. And it's not just, let's just take all these pumpkins to a parking lot and choose one. Right. Which is what I did when I grew up. So that's why as an adult, I was like, wow, they actually come from a farm, not from a parking lot.
Yeah, and I grew up on a farm. So I'm like, they come from the farm.
Yeah. so you never use them.
Right.
Yeah,
never use them.
Kind of ironic, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's too because of the limited recipes, right? Because we had the same 2 recipes growing up that you mentioned earlier that my mom made. And nothing else. So never, and then Trader Joe's started having, pumpkin, yes. I think it was pumpkin pasta and pancake mix and different stuff. I'm like, okay. Yeah. But so I didn't really know. But I wanted to back up because I think, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about who inspired you to cook, because I know that you love to cook, and then you're passing that on to your children, which I think is fantastic. So maybe you could talk about your cooking journey for just a moment.
Well, ever since I can remember, I've been in the kitchen cooking with my mom. I was probably around like 8 or 9 when I actually started cooking dinner for my family. Sometimes my mom wasn't able to cook. So I would just go into the kitchen. I would find recipes in actual cookbooks because I don't even use cookbooks anymore. I just go on Pinterest or go online or just find something. Remember I was telling you, I don't follow recipes. That's not how my brain works. I
don't either.
I can't follow recipes. I look at 2 or 3 different recipes and I say, okay, I'll just do this and this and this and I'll figure it out. And then, I'm not the type of person that, here's a recipe. Let's take the recipe card, go to a grocery store and buy everything on the list and measure everything. No, I can't do that. I kind of just feel my way through the kitchen and throwing this and throwing that and then tasting it and figuring out as I go along. So, and I don't know, I've just always cooked. When I was in college, I cooked for everyone all the time.
That's fantastic.
We're, in our 20s, teenagers in our 20s, and nobody around is cooking. We're used to being home and people cooking for us, but since I've been cooking my whole life, I kind of took on that mama role. And everybody would just be like, ooh, what are you going to whip up now? I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to cook. Let's just go into the kitchen. And everybody would be like, well, we don't have any food. I'm like, yes, we do. We have this and this and this and this. They're like, you're crazy, Giselle. What are you going to make with that? And then I would come out with like this dish. I just invented something.
That is outstanding. But do you have any memories of like the first thing that you actually cooked with your mom? Because I have a very specific memory of my mom asking my help with her tortillas and me getting to mix the masa. Like that's my first memory. When I was about 9 too.
I would say that maybe because chilaquiles and enchiladas are my favorite. Oh. I would just love when my mom made that. And she makes her chilaquiles with eggs. So tortillas. She fries the tortillas and then puts eggs and then she would make her own salsa, her own chile, from the dried chiles and tomatoes and all these spices. I love that. So with cheese, melted cheese. I love that. So enchilada, anything that has tortillas, cheese, and salsa, I love it.
I do too. And that's pretty much exactly the same way that we make ours too. The chilaquiles, exactly, my mom. So, we're related. So our food is similar. So that's awesome. And I know, I asked Ade to put in a picture of the pumpkins with Lorenzo at the pumpkin patch because that was so cute that you sent to me. So I'll see if, you can put that in there for us so everybody can see that because it's absolutely adorable. Thank you. And I think that it is so great that your daughters are already helping you in the kitchen. It's just fantastic.
Oh yeah, even Lorenzo, he stands there. His favorite thing to eat is macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
And he literally stands on a chair and watches water boil because he can't wait to put the macaroni in the boiling water. Like if you could just imagine a 3-year-old with big curly hair.
His picture's up there.
Standing on a chair waiting for water to boil.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
So cute. So it sounds like your passion around cooking with pumpkin started maybe like 5 years ago, and then you've just been experimenting ever since. And
So it goes back to the I don't buy canned foods. They're having a canned food drive. I think at the preschool, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't have any canned foods. I really don't buy any. I'd rather get something and cook it fresh.
Yeah.
So I just kind of thought, okay, well, I'm sure we could cook a pumpkin, How did they get it in the can anyway, right? I think it's just pureed. So I've actually cooked pumpkin a few different ways, where I've sliced it up in wedges and I put it on a cookie sheet and then roasted it in the oven. And I don't put anything on it, and it actually develops some flavor, some like roasted pumpkin flavor.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's yummy. And then the same way, just cut it up into big cubes, and then just put it in boiling water, or just put very, very little water, like a few inches of water, and almost like steaming the pumpkin, and then just stick a fork in it, soft pumpkin, and then it's ready. And then the other way I cooked it was I put it in a slow cooker with a little bit of water and just put it overnight on low, and the next morning it was cooked and ready to go, and then I just pureed it. I've even put it in my morning smoothie with my protein powder. Pumpkin's very, very good for us.
Because after I heard that you were going to do this, I researched it, and I'm like, I had no idea it's so good for us.
There's so many different vitamins that we don't find in our normal everyday, foods that we eat. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And it's got a lot of antioxidants as well as vitamin A and C, and it's really low in calories and high in fat. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Cause I'll give it to Sophia. So when I make a dish with canned pumpkin, cause I've never tried this before, so I'm going to have to. The leftover I always give to Sophia, our dog. She loves it. So she
eats it pureed like that?
Or? It's like mashed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I just mix it with her dog food, and she loves it. Yeah.
Well, another reason why, I got so turned on by pumpkin is because I believe it was about 9 years ago, I went to a nutritionist, and she said that I'm wheat and soy intolerant, so I shouldn't eat wheat and soy. So little by little, I started looking up different alternatives to bread, carb alternatives to bread, because I can't just sit there and eat potatoes and rice tortillas every day. So that's another reason why I fell in love with squash, because it's so versatile. Like, you can use it so many different ways. I think one time for Thanksgiving, I made mashed cauliflower instead of mashed potatoes.
I think you did that at a Christmas party I was at. They were really good.
Yeah, it was like
really
cheesy garlic mashed cauliflower instead of mashed potatoes. And it's like way less calories. It's not so heavy. And it's a vegetable.
And it was fantastic.
Yeah, it's not so starchy. Yeah.
It was really, really
So that's another reason why I fell in love with pumpkins, and then acorn squash and butternut squash and spaghetti squash. Every time fall comes around, I always stock up on all of those.
Well, and they keep a long time too. I wanted to ask you about that. How long do they keep? Because you said you had, it was 8 pumpkins and.
Well, the ones from the farm last a few months, actually. The ones, I try not to buy them from the store, the grocery store, because I know I'm going to go to the farm anyway, because those don't last as long. Although I do have some butternut squash from Trader Joe's, and I've had it for over a month, and I'm ready to make my butternut squash soup, but then I have all this pumpkin now, so I'm going to wait until I finish all my pumpkin recipes.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you've talked a little bit about the pumpkin seeds, at least, that you made from your last pumpkins. And I tried those, and they were really yummy. You had some of those out. So do you want to tell us how you made your oatmeal? Because that was one of the other things that you had.
Yeah.
And I went. It was fantastic. She literally had five different recipes, you guys, for me to try. It was awesome.
Yeah, and that was just from these pumpkins. The other recipes that I made earlier this year were pumpkin oatmeal bars, which is kind of like pumpkin pie, but like with the oatmeal crumble on top. And I just, square them up, and I had some for breakfast a few days. And then I did make cream of pumpkin soup. This is like the second round that I made. But I find that it's easy just to cook the pumpkin and then puree it, just put it in a blender, and then I could freeze some, or I could keep some, and then I just add it. Like I said, I can add it to my morning smoothie, or I could just add it to my oatmeal. So it's fairly easy. If you're going to make oatmeal, just start with your regular water and oatmeal, boiling it on the pot. Or sometimes I like to put almond milk, or you can put whatever milk you'd like. And then just add the puree. Once the oatmeal is about halfway cooked, just add the puree of pumpkin to it, and then just add the pumpkin pie spices like ground cinnamon, ground nutmeg, allspice, and then if you want, add a little bit of sea salt, and then add some sunflower seeds for a little crunch. So in Mexico, they're called pepitas.
Okay.
And they're so good. Just put it on top of salads, and like I said, on the pumpkin pie oatmeal, it's so good to add that little extra crunch with all the different flavors.
Okay, so now I'm gonna have to try this oatmeal thing, because I'm not a big oatmeal fan. So but I love pumpkins, so I think this could.
Well, I breastfed all my kids for like about a year, like each of them, and oatmeal was one of the things that I would eat a lot while I was breastfeeding. I don't really eat it that much all the time now, but when it's colder outside, I will eat it. But yeah, so eating oatmeal every single day, I was like, okay, how else could I eat it? Just add things to it and different things. Yeah.
That is really creative, really, really creative. And when I went over, the other thing that you made, and we'll get to the soup in a minute, was the hummus. I was really surprised that you had made pumpkin hummus.
Well, yeah, because I love hummus, and it's so easy just to eat with some tortilla chips or some carrot sticks or celery sticks. And it's something that I started making recently.
Right.
And last time I made it with carrots, pureed carrots. And this time I was like, well, why not? And I noticed that the carrot hummus, it was sweeter because the carrots have the sweet flavor. But the pumpkin, it doesn't have as much flavor. The flavor is not as potent as a carrot.
Right. What else did you put in it along with the pumpkin?
So it's the garbanzo beans and the pumpkin puree, lime. I put lemon juice, yellow lemons, lemon juice, and olive oil and sea salt. I think I also added some black pepper that I cracked in there. It just flavor it however you'd like. But the base of making hummus is garbanzo beans, olive oil, and lemon juice.
Okay. And do you cook your own garbanzo beans from scratch?
So I haven't tried that yet. That's my next thing. So I guess I would say the only thing that I might canned are the garbanzo beans. Yeah, because that's the next thing. And I have seen them. I've seen them at the Mexican produce market. But I think they're a little intimidating for me right now, but I've conquered the pumpkin. Maybe that'll go.
You can do it. I'm sure. It's very much like cooking beans. So it's exactly like it. It's just water and salt. That's all it is.
Yeah. Okay.
And boiling it is super easy.
Because you have to peel them too, or you leave them. No,
I don't think so. I don't. I think you just.
No, because I've seen them at the Mexican market. They're like with a green leaf thing around them.
Okay, so I get these ones at Whole Foods that don't have that, so you just boil them. I don't know what they do.
Are they dry? You get the dried garbanzos? Oh, no, because I've seen like the fresh.
No, I get the dried ones. You cook them like beans. Yeah. And then you just
okay.
Yeah, and then you just cook them like you would dried beans.
I don't think I've ever seen the dried garbanzo beans.
And they're super easy.
Maybe I've just never really paid attention to them.
Yeah, but I thought it was mild, but it was yummy. It was mild. Your hummus that you made, it was mild and still very yummy. And
thanks.
And I thought it was very versatile. You like you said, you could probably add red peppers or garlic, whatever you wanted in there, and probably be.
I didn't see this, but I probably could have added pepitas, the pumpkin.
Yes,
because I've seen some hummus they add pine nuts.
Oh, okay.
So maybe well, now I know what to do next time.
You know what to do. And I also wanted to say that I'm like you. I am almost not doing any canned food as well. The thing I still do canned is canned tomato paste and sometimes canned tomatoes. because you can't always find fresh tomatoes. But that's pretty much it. I'm exactly with you. I'm doing fresh or it's frozen or it's dried and I'm rehydrating it. But, and I think for me, part of it is growing up on a farm, I knew that the best produce went to the store. The highest quality that was in the fields all went to the store to be sold because it was pretty. And the stuff that didn't look so great and was rotting a little bit, that went to the canning places. So even the frozen got the better quality.
So you felt bad for the ugly
I don't know. Vegetables. But we are having so much fun talking about pumpkin, and I can't believe that we need to take a break for a few minutes. So we're going to be gone for a few minutes, and we'll be right back. And I want to thank Gisel Martin for being here on Molé Mama on 1-2 Radio, where we are changing the way we cook for the world. And we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're listening to Molé Mama here on 1-2 Radio, where we are changing the way we cook for the world. Please join us in our Facebook chat room by going over to 12radio.com and clicking on the chat button. You'll be redirected to our 1-2 Radio Facebook group, and Ade will let you join our group. And please feel free to post a question in the chat, and I will answer you on air. We have a very special guest here today. Gisel Martin is here, and we're talking about pumpkin and her pumpkin recipes. And if you were listening to the first half of the show, I did let you know that I am her aunt, but her mother is my prima Eva, who is often in our chat room and has been on our show as well. And so when she was talking about cooking with her mom, it was cooking with Chef Eva, who's an amazing pastry chef. And I dream about her Mexican wedding cookies. And I've talked about them so many times. But anyway, so we're back and we've been talking about pumpkin. And before I wanted to just give another shout out to Elizabeth Lindsay is in the chat room, and Eva is here trying to do, I think, Facebook Live and kind of freaking me out while I'm on the radio, losing my place. But we're going to continue our conversation now about pumpkin because I went to your house and you made these 5 recipes on Friday, and we had pumpkin seeds, homemade, that were amazing, and hummus and oatmeal that looked great. I didn't taste it, but now after listening to you, I'm going to have to make it because it sounded amazing. My mouth was watering when you were talking about it. And I'd love for you to talk about that yummy pumpkin soup that you made and how you did that.
Well, the first fall harvest soup that I made was butternut squash.
Okay.
So I kind of just took that recipe and then turned it into my own with pumpkin. So what I did, it was like it's like a medium-sized pumpkin, and I chopped it up. Well, not chopped, it was more cubed. It was like normal, like the size of a dice, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I get a big pot, maybe a medium-sized pot, and I saute onions and garlic, chopped up onions and garlic with olive oil or whatever oil of your choice. And then I put the cubed pumpkin in there. So I'm just letting the onions, garlic, pumpkin just get all these flavors, and I add some sea salt. And you can add whatever dried spices you like to use. Sometimes I've put in a bay leaf. You can add tarragon. Tarragon is so yummy with soups. You can put oregano, parsley, whatever you like. So you let that just cook and saute a little bit. And then what I do is you can use either chicken broth or vegetable, any kind of broth that you like, or you can put water as well. And you fill it up about you fill it up to where half of the pumpkin is. And then like the rest of like 1/4 that's left, half of it is left, but about 1/4 you put heavy cream, milk, almond milk, whatever type of milk that you'd like, just to give it a little creamy factor. And so I like it to be really creamy. I don't like it to be so soupy and brothy. So I just make sure that the liquid stays under where the pumpkin is. So I don't fill the liquid all the way up or over the pumpkin. I leave it under, just a few inches under. So that's pretty much it. You just let it cook a little bit and all of the flavors marinate together. And when it's boiling, then I just turn it off and put it in the blender and then put it back in the pot and serve it. And yummy. You can add black pepper, salt. I use sea salt. I also have Himalayan salt, which is good too. So
I have some of that too.
Yeah. So just use whatever you have in your cupboard. That's my philosophy of cooking.
And it was so delicious. I remember kind of inhaling it and not even speaking to you because I was just like so in love with your soup. It was so yummy. It was fantastic. Okay. So I saved your last recipe because I was just amazed. I've never tasted a tamale like this before. So Giselle made tamales with chorizo, which if you've listened to my show, you've heard me talk about. It's the pork spicy Mexican sausage with pumpkin and then queso fresco. And it was like the best tamale ever. I've never had a tamale like this in my life. So I would love for you to talk about that. It was amazing.
I've never made them before. Like I said, I just go into the kitchen and like, hey, what comes? Let's see what comes out of it.
Well, you need to hold on to this recipe.
I think that for me, making tamales it's important because my grandma showed me how to make the masa, which is the corn dough, from scratch, and that's just very special to me, and it also tastes so yummy. It just tastes a lot better than any place I've ever gone to buy it already prepared. So that's why I love making tamales. And everybody that I talk to or everybody tells me, you make them? You make it? It's so much hard work. Like why? How you spend the whole day? No, it just took me like a couple hours. It's just, it's not a big deal to me anymore because...
Well, you look like a pro doing it. So I want to talk about the masa, and I think it's so cool that your grandma taught you how to make the masa. But normally, it takes lard and you put butter in it. I've never had it with butter.
Yeah, my grandma always makes it with butter. That's how she shows me to make it.
Delicious.
Yeah, it just takes on a different flavor.
Very much so.
Yeah. And it's not so, it's not so greasy, and
and it wasn't as harsh. Cause sometimes I feel like the lard is a little bit, it's stronger. There's a stronger flavor there.
Yeah. And it may take over, like the masa's flavor is more overpowering than the actual, than the filling inside of the tamales.
I'm going to have to get you to come over and teach me how to make it. So I was telling Sean about
it. We can bring Mama Carmen, the original.
We need to do that.
Masa, tamale masa maker.
With butter. Oh my gosh. With mantequilla. Oh my gosh. So yummy. Okay. And then, so I made tamales and we were talking about it with my mom and we made everything from scratch. We'd kill a pig to have homemade lard. It was just like, it was a multiple day event. But we always used a spoon to put our masa on the leaves, on the hojas. And then I see you doing it with your hand. That was amazing. So I have a picture of her actually doing it with her hand. It's the easiest way. Okay. Yeah. Well, my mom did not teach me that way. My mom taught me with the spoon.
And ever since I was little. I mean, that's what we do. Christmas time comes around and all the women in the family have to get together and make tamales. So even my daughters, Andrea helped me put some masa on some tamales too, on some of the tamales that you ate.
With her hand?
Yeah, with her hand. Yeah.
That is fantastic. Okay, I don't know. I got taught the California way. I have no idea because my mom's not here to defend herself. But we had to use spoons. And then, so the filling then, do you want to talk a little bit more about what you did with chorizo? Because it was just fabulous.
Okay, well, I was thinking, okay, what else could I do with pumpkins? And I really just went online and I said, okay, Mexican pumpkin recipes. And I saw all these different pumpkin recipes, not just candied pumpkin anymore. Like on Pinterest, the Pinterest world has expanded my food recipe horizons. It's amazing. I saw pumpkin enchiladas.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I saw these pumpkin and chorizo tamales, and I said, oh, I know how to make masa. I have some corn husks at home, and I have masa harina at home. And I'm like, oh, okay. See, whatever I have at home. I went and I had pumpkins. So I went and I got some chorizo. And all I did really for the filling was I sauteed the chorizo with some diced onions and diced pumpkin. And that's it. Just those 3 ingredients. And then from there, I think I added perejil and oregano, parsley and oregano, and salt and pepper. And that's pretty much it. And I was surprised at how non-greasy the tamales turned out. I think that all of the oil from the chorizo, and the chorizo is very, very well made. I got it at La Tapatía in South City. And my uncle owns that market. And it's like a family-owned market. And I used to work there when I was in high school.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's like the first place where I really learned about masa, manteca, carnitas, and everything, because they make it there. Tortillas, tortilla chips. They make everything there every morning. It's fresh. So they make their own chorizo too. They put spices in it and they encase them themselves, everything. So I always go there to get my chorizo. So when I made the filling, I noticed that there was a lot of red oil, dripping from the chorizo. And I thought, oh my gosh, I hope they don't turn out so greasy. But they didn't, actually. And then I had queso fresco in the fridge.
Which was amazing.
and I thought, okay, let me put that in there. Maybe it'll help cut the fat, just add more fat. Add more fat to the fat. And it turned out really, really good. The queso fresco stays really spongy in the tamales. It doesn't melt like the other cheese, like the queso Oaxaca or el asadero or the other cheese that you may use in tamales. But actually, the first time I tasted tamales with queso fresco, I believe, was over the summer.
Yeah.
My husband's cousin actually ordered some tamales from a lady who makes them, and they were tamales de queso fresco, and they were really, really yummy. So when I opened my fridge and I said, oh, I have to try it. Let's just see. It's an experiment. And it's just all of it together tastes. I think they turned out really good.
Outstanding. It really was. And we used to put queso fresco in our tamales too. My mom would make a veggie version with potatoes and carrots and rajas. So or jalapeno, and queso fresco. And they were really delicious. But mostly it was mole tamales that my mom made. But
mole with pork.
Mole with pork and mole with chicken. Mm-hmm. And then we wouldn't fold them. We would tie them. So they were ginormous. Yes. And the last time that we made tamales with my mom, she was already pretty sick, and she had her oxygen tank next to her in the garage with all the tables and everybody on the assembly line, and mom sitting at the end, and she was quality control. She was checking every single tamale to see if it had too much masa or not enough, or it was leaking, or it needed to go back. But she would send a lot of them back. So we'd have to redo them. So she was hardcore in her tamales. She had high standards. So I've always been intimidated by it. I've never made tamales on my own.
Well, it's definitely an art, because there's so many different components, and it's also the way you make them. First you have to soak the corn husks, because you can't use dry corn husks. You have to soak them, and then I guess you're like rehydrating them,
right?
And then, there are 2 sides to the corn husks. One is the smooth side and one is the rough side. And you have to make sure you put the masa on the smooth side, because when they're cooked and you open it up, the tamal just slides right off the corn husk. So that's also important. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they were amazing. I'm telling you, I have to make them, or you have to come over, or Mama Carmen has to come over, but I have to learn how to make these things. They were so good. So good. Yeah. So thank you. It was such a treat. It was so fun for me to go to your home and try these recipes.
Yeah, it was fun.
Awesome thing. So I wanted to spend a few minutes because you and your daughter have this business together, which I think is so cool. So I'd love for you to tell our listeners about your business that you have with Andrea.
So a couple years ago, I found this wonderful company started up by a 14-year-old girl, and that really inspired me to do something with my daughters. Andrea was 6 at the time, and I showed her the video of Bella's story. The founder of this company is her name is Bella, and she founded it with her mom. And she used this opportunity to buy something that she wanted. She actually wanted a Jeep. She was 14 years old and she wanted a Jeep when she turned 16. And she went to her parents and they're like, sorry, we're not going to give you the money. And they're like, well, how am I supposed to get the money? I'm like, well, you could babysit, you could get a job, or you can start your own business. So she came up with the idea of making lockets. It kind of looks like what is it, like one of those little pocket watches?
Yeah.
But instead of it being a pocket watch, it's glass on both sides. And then she came up with the idea of putting charms inside of it. So the whole idea is to tell your story with your jewelry. And so today I'm wearing my pumpkin pie, and latte locket, because
that's fantastic. Yeah. And I think Ade has a picture of it, so he can put it up in the chat room.
So, my daughter, ever since she was about 2.5, 3 years old, she loved horses, and she fell in love with horses, and her dream is to own a horse ranch, and she wants to buy a horse. Instead of getting a car when she turns 16, she wants a horse. And ever since she was little, she was about 2 or 3, I think, the first time we took her to a ranch. And they wouldn't let her on a horse. She could only ride a pony. And she just loves horses so much that she knows all the different types of breeds. Today, I went to her school book fair, and she chose another book about horses. She loves it. And she watches a lot of movies about horses, and she just learns as much as she can. And she's come to the conclusion that she loves Mustangs. And at first she wanted to have a horse ranch and keep horses. And after learning about Mustangs and learning that they're wild horses, she now wants to have a Mustang rescue ranch where she could help rescue them and then release them out in the wild, because Mustangs are not supposed to live on ranches. They're supposed to live out in the wild. And so she wants to help them.
That's a fantastic story.
So I thought, okay, how am I going to help my daughter with her dream? So we signed up for this business. It's called Origami Owl. It is a direct sales business. So we are our own independent sellers of the jewelry. And so she has almost a couple $1,000s saved up already. So every time we have jewelry bars and we sell jewelry, we have sales, I put some money in her own bank account. And so she's working for her horse ranch, her wild Mustang horse rescue ranch. Yeah.
I love that story. It's so sweet. But people can buy from your website too, right? You have a website, so you can, and I think Ade has your link, so he'll put it up for us. And I have my locket, and I'm wearing my locket right now. And,
I think it was almost exactly a year ago that we came to your house.
And had a party. We had a party here.
A pozole and jewelry party.
Yes.
I think. Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have your daughter on video saying that my pozole was pretty good. That's what she said. Which is awesome.
Well.
But my locket, I love my locket. It's a Molé Mama locket. So I put a whole bunch of stuff about San Francisco and heart and roses and a cactus and sandia. So I absolutely love it. But they're really cool, you guys.
And that's the Molé Mama story right there.
Yeah.
So it's like telling your story with your jewelry. And I have this rose gold mini locket, and it's a latte and a pumpkin pie, because I could eat that and drink that every day. A latte and pumpkin pie for breakfast.
But I think too, you guys now have, there's bracelets with the lockets. There's
watches.
There's so many cool things.
Yeah, we have this really great collection called the Core Collection, where they're called little mementos, and they're smaller little charms you can hang directly on the chain. And each one has its own special meaning. It's an affirmation. It's what I call affirmation jewelry. Right. So the stars said something like, oh, reach for the stars. And so it's really great because then when I wear my core necklace with the core collection on it, I look at it and it just reminds me to do that. And I think the idea of it is to bring all of your good things out from your core and then just put all of these good, great things back into your core too. I think that's the way I interpret it.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
I know mine has a plate on it.
Yeah, blessed.
I have the blessed plate.
Yeah.
Which I really love.
Yeah, you can custom make anything. You can inscribe on the actual locket itself. You can inscribe little tags. It's really great.
And people could still order for Christmas, right?
Uh-huh.
So if they did it right away.
No, definitely. I went on our website today and it says that if you place at least a $85 order online, then they'll do whatever they can to upgrade your shipping for free to get it here before Christmas. Yeah.
That's great because they really make really nice gifts. I've gotten them for other people and people just love them.
Yeah, it's personalized. No one will ever wear that same piece of jewelry that you're wearing because nobody's going to have your story.
No, it's fantastic. So if you guys are still need a really wonderful Christmas gift, please check out Gisel's website. And like I said, I love my locket. I actually have a couple of them and I've gifted them and they just make beautiful gifts. And also Valentine's Day is right around the corner. So you want to actually plan. And then there's Mother's Day. So they make wonderful, wonderful gifts.
Yeah.
So what do you think the next pumpkin dish is that you're going to make? Are you out of pumpkin?
I think I need to make more pumpkin and chorizo tamales.
Yeah, okay. Please invite me. Or actually have me come over and help you so I can learn how to do it. Because they were so good.
I was thinking about, I think a couple years ago, I made pumpkin garlic knots.
What is that?
You know what garlic knots are?
No.
I think, okay, no? So it's like they're like little breads. It's like, okay, instead of a breadstick, so it's like you make the dough for a breadstick, instead of leaving it as a breadstick, you tie it into a knot.
Okay.
And then you put like olive oil and garlic on top and stuff. So it's like garlic knots.
Yum.
But I added pumpkin puree to the dough. So they're like orange. So they're garlic pumpkin knots. I made that a couple years ago. I don't know if my husband or my kids remember. But yep. What else have I made? I don't know. It just depends. It really depends. Like, okay, let's go into my fridge. What do I have? Could I add pumpkin to it?
Okay, well, I think you need to make those tamales again.
Yeah.
I really think that you do. I can't believe that we're already out of time. This has been so much fun.
Already?
Yes. And thank you so much for being here with me,
Gisel.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Loved it. So,
I had lots of fun too.
It was really fun. So, I hope you've all enjoyed listening to us tonight here on Molé Mama. And coming up next is Oh My Angels with Peggy Risner. I want to thank Ade, our fabulous producer, even though he's been complaining that we've made him very hungry tonight. So just sorry, Ade. And I want to remind everybody that while you're cooking this week, to remember to add the most important ingredient to every recipe you make, your love. And as my mama always said to me as we said our goodbyes, que Dios te bendiga, may God bless you. And because it's evening in Cali, que duermas con los angelitos, sleep with the angels. Thank you for tuning in to Molé Mama here on 1-2 Radio, where we are changing the way we cook for the world. Thank you for tuning in to Molé Mama. Remember to add love to every recipe you make. It is your secret ingredient. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and check out our YouTube channel and make those yummy recipes for your loved ones and connect and have fun and enjoy. Que Dios te bendiga. May God bless you.